Hey, you guys want to do something stupid? I get the urge to make something really stupid for my channel every now and then, like putting mock the weak lines to Veilguard or those what your preferred Fire Emblem romance says about you videos I made. You know, dumb fun. Your dad has never really gotten over you being gay, but your mom couldn't be happier. You're the most powerful lesbian in your friend group. You're dead set on being someone's manic pixie dream girl. You just need to find the right loser.
Simon sidled across the nightclub floor and used the one chat-up line he knew always worked. Did it hurt when you fell from heaven? Lucifer!
I wish I knew how to quit you, said Michael, honking another massive line of cocaine.
And this week, okay, so you know how the Game Awards just happened and they have nothing but boring and obvious categories? Well, I've decided to fix that with my own little Game Awards ceremony, detailing all the little moments in gaming this last year that I could be bothered to notice or have brought to my attention at some point. To keep things simple, the games either have to have been released in 2025 or have received large enough updates during the year to be considered still relevant. So games like Date Everything and Skate Story are on the list for the former reason, and games like Overwatch are on it for the latter. Also, I'd love to hear what awards you'd give out for the last year. Tell me in the comments, I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with. So with that out of the way, let's get into the stupidity, shall we? Since this is my first time making something like this, let's start with a lighter topic. Say, controversies. The gaming industry is no stranger to controversies both big and small, and there's been a lot of them over the years. These range in size from things as minor as disappointing launches to issues as major as companies attempting to bust unions. The use of generative AI was a big one this last year as well, alongside mass layoffs, parent companies shutting down studios for literally nothing, and a whole host of other issues that will both piss you off and make you incredibly sad. But such things are far too serious for a video like this, and thus I'd like to take a moment to crown the dumbest controversy this year. There are a lot of those too, such as literally any time Randy Pitchford opened his fat fucking mouth. But my personal favourite actually comes from very early in the year, all the way back in February when Obsidian Entertainment released Avowed. Anyone remember that? No? Just me? Okay then. For those who don't know, Avowed is a first-person Western RPG set in the Pillars of Eternity universe, and it was quite a fun little combat-focused romp through Bear Country. One thing that did happen was a bunch of losers got mad that the character creator included they-them pronouns, which is honestly an event as noteworthy and inevitable as the fucking tides coming in nowadays. But the Piss Baby Brigade throwing a tantrum over the inclusion of a core aspect of the English language isn't the actual controversy in question. Oh no. The actual controversy centered on what was missing from the game, namely, romance. Avowed wasn't interested in letting you bone down with your companions, and for some reason this pissed off a very vocal minority of people who felt it signified the downfall of Obsidian Entertainment as we know it, little realizing nor caring that devs aren't actually obligated to give you romance options in everything you play, and that it actually wasn't that big a deal. The really funny thing is that the game technically does have a romantic option in the form of Kai, friendly fishman and your first companion. After helping him to settle his feelings for a dead friend, you have the option to tell him that you like him in that special way, to which he's receptive, but says his response should probably wait till after you've handled the magic plague turning every living thing into murderous zombies. Because you know, someone has to have their priorities straight around here. Regardless, that didn't stop people from bitching up a storm, and thus I would like to present the Avowed romance controversy its award. A coupon for everyone who threw a tantrum over it to go get a fucking life. If you run down to your local store, you can generally find it in the self-help section next to the clues. Hopefully next year I can allocate at least a minimal budget to commissioning drawings of each award. It'll be fun. On the subject of RPGs, let's talk traversal. In AAA gaming circles, games tend towards getting bigger and more open, and the way you get around said worlds tends to have a huge impact on your experience overall. There's always fast travel of course, but it's the games that truly allow you to traverse the map in style that will be remembered the most. There were some strong contenders this year, most notably Silksong for our beloved Bell Beast, and South of Midnight for both the platforming chase sequences and the honestly really cool Mountain Wind Current gliding section. There's also Elden Ring Night Rain, which forgoes traditional mounts and instead gives you both the ability to sprint faster than most horses can gallop, and the power to jump up the side of a cliff in a way that would make a Skyrim enthusiast die of terminal jealousy. But because I am biased, I am instead presenting the Golden Penis Shaped Rocket Ship Award for Best Mount and or Traversal Mechanics to Digimon Time Stranger for letting your Digimon carry you around the world. It may not increase your speed that much, but what can really compare to riding on the back of your dragon or being carried by a big buff man with a knife and a wolf head? Nothing, that's what. Case closed. And you know, Digimon kind of made a comeback this last year. Between Time Stranger and Beat Break, the franchise has kind of been on the rise for the first time in a while, which is good because Digimon is awesome and it's a shame when an IP is fumbled. Speaking of masterful segues, the child crying over a splattered ice cream cone award for most fumbled IP goes to Persona 5 The Phantom X. I had thought about giving it to Fire Emblem Shadows, but in the end there was just no contest. I know we live in a time where capitalism has made nothing sacred, but I can only imagine the thought process was, hey, you know how people love Persona 5? Well, what if we throw out everything people liked and debase the name of a beloved franchise on the off chance we can hook a few whales? I see no reason people should be anything but delighted. So yeah, fuck this game. Shove your trophy right up your ass, Phantom X. I'm beginning to see why the Game Awards have so many trailers. It's way easier to jump from one topic to another when you don't actually have to connect them. Anyway, the next award concerns remakes and re-releases. We live in a time of rampant remaking, where nothing is dead which can eternal lie and games are constantly being remade, remastered, rehydrated, reincarnated, and reused over and over because targeting nostalgia is the most reliable way to earn a few extra bucks. And while a lot of them make sense, some of them really don't. Case in point, the award for the most baffling remaster goes to Sphinx and the Cursed Mummery, a game from the 6th console generation that few people played, fewer remember, and even fewer than that think back on with anything resembling fondness. And yet it got a modern console remake this last year for reasons I'm sure made sense to someone in THQ Nordic. I mean, unless you personally played it, or I guess watched the Nitro Rad video 8 years ago, I can't imagine you were exactly praying for a remake of this mess, or that you knew it got remastered at all. I mean, I did play the original, and I only found out the game got a remaster in 2025 when I was looking at a list of game releases for this video, so it's not like it was making waves. So come up and claim your prize, Sphinx, a confused looking chipmunk carved out of limestone. And on the subject of things that probably shouldn't still be relevant, remakes aren't the only way for something to stick around for longer than you'd think possible. We do, after all, live in a world of live service, where games designed to be theoretically played perpetually until the heat death of the universe are constantly being made, being played, and either immediately crashing and burning or somehow holding it together long enough to make some real money. And what tends to be the most impressive, at least to me, is when a game does that despite every logical point to the contrary. Sometimes a game just won't keel over and die, and I think there's some merit to acknowledging those astoundingly sturdy soldiers of misfortune, which is why I like to grant the Wounded Gazelle Award for the game that is most impressively still limping along somehow to Overwatch, a game kept alive and relevant by Rule 34 and a player base that is at once incredibly dedicated, constantly shrinking, and increasingly toxic. Despite Blizzard's best efforts to euthanize this game, it keeps puttering along regardless. So please, Overwatch, step up and claim your prize, a monkey wrench to the knee of your choosing, and a 2-minute head start before I release the hounds. Alright, moving on. Though while we're on the topic of toxic things, biomes. Which game had the worst area to go through? Well, I could make a list of games with horrible areas that make you want to kill yourself IRL instead of having to trek through them, but let's be honest, there's only one real option from this year. Thus, I would like to grant the My health bar is crying and my lungs are filled with toxic sludge award for the worst fucking biome to Bilewater from Silksong. The maggots, the enemies that either spit maggots at you or knock you back into the maggots, and the fact that you don't find the fragile wreath until after you've suffered your way through an extensive bout of extremely annoying platforming through the worst area in the fucking game, all make it absolutely fucking terrible. No contest. Don't actually step up to claim your award, Bilewater. A team in hazmat suits will deliver it to you in a timely manner. I don't want to get the stench of Growl all over the stage. And now, for a fun little change of pace, the awards I can't pretend connect to anything else beforehand, but were also too funny not to give out. I'd feel worse about the lack of effort if the actual Game Awards had put half the effort in presenting the categories that I did. The chocolate-coated microphone with a frayed wire award for the most hilariously bad voice acting goes to Lost Soul Aside. While the voice work in a game is far from the most important aspect, the rather curious choice to have half of the main cast sound as if they were just randos pulled off the street for no better reason than that they looked like the characters they were expected to voice, alongside the honestly quite derivatively boring dialogue, may have been what secured the nomination, but what clinched the win was the absolute joy I found in a single scene. While I firmly believe that no game should have voice work that's worse than mine, I can't deny that it made me cackle like a hyena witch in a tickle fight to witness this singular scene. I love it, congrats on your win. Submitted by my good friend Felby. The Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man award for the single strongest button goes to the Herculean efforts of the singular fastener on Yidari Murphy from Zenless Zone Zero. This little hero is all that stands between ZZZ and a mature rating. You honor us with your service to the cause. And on an only tangentially related note, the Key to Horny Jail award for the fucking horniest game of the year goes to Date Everything. While there may have been more explicit games last year, and there were definitely more pornographic games, no other game comes close to being as spiritually horny as the masterpiece that Team 17 wrought into existence. Other games may be horny, but they will never be, I am going to anthropomorphize my fridge into a sexy Yeti man horny. And no game character will ever be as horny for the player as Betty or Mac are.
There's no one I'd rather have interfacing with my operating system for 11.4 hours daily. 14.6 hours on the weekends. The way you organize your folder structure follows such a logical hierarchy.
You're doing God's work, Team 17. The work of a depraved fertility god perhaps, but the point still stands. Also, here's something I bet you never thought you'd hear. I'd like to grant the Hell's Best Coffee Novelty Mug Award for Scariest Coffee Maker to The Infernal Machine from Mars Vice, a game that would have also won the Golden Cat Ears and Clip-On Tail Award for Most Mainstream Friendly Furry Game if not for Donkey Kong Bonanza. This terrifying contraption attempts to murder Anaya, the newest recruit to the Mars Police Force, for disrespecting it, and it's only thanks to Dax teaching her the secret of the machine that she was able to get a decent cup of coffee at all, as he claims that the machine respects those that respect it. The kicker? The machine has actually been there longer than the Force, and no matter how they attempt to remove it, be that disconnecting it, cutting the wires, or even calling in an exorcist, the machine would always be in perfect shape again the next day. Anaya can only meekly accept her coffee and go about her day as Dax muses over the new white streak in the exorcist's hair, as well as the terrible screams they heard that day. Lastly, I'd like to close out this video by acknowledging the furries in the audience. Love them or hate them, they're here to stay, and whether it be from companies hoping to gain their financial support, or games developed by furries themselves, there's no denying the increase in anthropomorphic characters in recent years. Since I'm not a furry myself, I actually had to confer with the expert on this one, but after not all that much deliberation because the winner was kind of obvious, I'd like to grant the Receipt for a Ludicrously Expensive Not Safe for Work Commission Award for Biggest Furry in Gaming of 2025 to Claire Obscure Expedition 30, it's Cerner from Dispatch. Seriously, the people have been going fucking nuts for this fuzzy-headed bastard since the demo dropped. No other character has even come close. I don't get the appeal myself. Dispatch is painfully heteronormative, and Cerner himself is a crypto enthusiast tech bro who probably listens to Joe Rogan podcasts in his spare time. But this isn't about my personal taste, this is about what the people wanted, and apparently they wanted this. So please, Sonar, step up and claim your prize, as well as any twinks you like along the way. And that will just about do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this little experiment in low-effort dumb fun, because I certainly did. I might do this again next year, let me know if you'd be interested. Anyway, have a lovely day, and I'll see you in another video. Bye!